Hello, first graders. I should say hello, scientists. Welcome to science. Last week, we started talking about some things that scientists do. I don't know if you remember, but last week you used your five senses to observe a food. I observed a fig, and then you guys observed different foods in your house. So you had to tell me what it looked like, what it smelled like, what it tasted like, what it sounded like, and what it felt like. Those were our five senses. So that's something that scientists do when they want to figure something out. Today, we're going to be becoming true scientists. We're going to be true scientists today. We're going to use what's called the scientific method. Say it with me. Scientific method. The scientific method is the steps that scientists use or the steps that scientists do when they want to figure out the answer to something. Okay? You're like, Miss Cortez, what's the scientific method? I don't know. I'm going to share a little book with you right now to kind of help us figure out what it is. Okay? Let's pull up the book, and I'm going to make myself smaller. Okay, let's look at the book. So, see, the title says The Scientific Method. And what do these guys look like? They're scientists, right? They've got their lab coats. Do all scientists wear lab coats? No. Science teaches us about the world around us. There are many things that we know about our world, and some things that we still don't know. A scientist's job is to learn, figure out why things happen, or come up with better ways to do things. So scientists' job is to figure out answers to questions, right? For example, right now, we don't know what the cure of coronavirus is, so we have scientists looking to answer that question. What's the cure to coronavirus? There are people trying to figure that out. Scientists use what we call the scientific method to help them learn about and study new things. They want to learn why or how things happen. Look at her. She's wondering. The first step in the scientific method is to ask a question. Scientists ask questions that they want to figure out the answer to, like what causes an ice cube to melt? Or how does a tornado form? So, the very first step to the scientific method is to ask a question, something you're wondering about. Next, scientists form a hypothesis. Say this word with me. Hypothesis. Whoa, that's a big scientific word. A hypothesis is the scientific word for prediction, kind of like a guess. They use facts and information that they know or have learned to say what they think will happen or what they think the answer will be. And you'll see what I mean right now. But a hypothesis is a prediction. Scientists think about what they think is going to happen before they even try to find the answer. Look at these guys. They're scientists too. Are they wearing lab coats? Are they in a laboratory? No, because scientists don't just look like this. Scientists look for answers outside too. After they form their hypothesis, they perform an experiment. An experiment is a test that will help them figure out if their guess was correct. So, first they ask a question, then they make a guess, and then they do an experiment to see if their guess was correct. During an experiment, scientists measure and observe, just like you guys observed the food the other day. They use their senses, just like you guys, to help them gain information. They look, they listen, they feel, they smell, and they sometimes taste. They write down everything they observe. As the experiment is performed, scientists can change their hypothesis. When the experiment is over, scientists analyze. To analyze means that they look at the results of their experiment very closely. Were the experiment results surprising? Was their hypothesis correct? They find a possible answer to their question and decide if their hypothesis was true. So at the very end of it, scientists have to figure out if what they thought was going to happen really did happen. Finally, scientists discuss. They talk with other scientists about the results. They share their discoveries with the science community and other people. They may learn new things from other scientists and then repeat their experiment in a different way. I don't know if you remember, but last time when I told you to observe your food, I told you that we have to write everything down so we could share it with everybody else, right? Because scientists don't just hold on to the information for themselves. No, no, no. Scientists want to share what they find with everybody around them. Most scientists follow the scientific method when they're learning and studying new things. By following the steps in the process, scientists can learn new information to help everyone understand our world better. Now here you have another scientist. I don't know which question she's trying to answer, but she's out there doing the scientific method, just like we are going to be doing in just a second. Professional scientists are not the only people who use the scientific method. You can too. To follow the steps in the scientific method, think about a question that you have about why or how things happen. Form a hypothesis, experiment, observe, analyze, and discuss. You can be a scientist too. And actually, today you are going to be scientists because we're going to be doing an experiment. Okay? You are going to be scientists. We are going to use the scientific method to help us answer a question. Before we do our experiment, we need to set everything up for our experiment, okay? First thing you're going to need is a piece of paper like this one, a pencil, and an eraser. Okay, we're going to create our scientific booklet to write down everything that we find because remember, scientists write down all of their observations and then they share what they find with all of the other scientists. So we need to create our science notebook here. So now that you have your paper, we're going to fold it in half like a book. Remember, like a short book. Not like a hot dog, like a hamburger. We're gonna press, press, press. Okay. Now that we have our book folded, we're gonna start by putting our name. This is your scientific booklet, so put your name. Okay. Here I made some cards with the steps for my scientific method. So the very first thing that scientists do in the scientific method is they ask a question. So today I'm going to give you the question that we're going to ask. Today we're going to ask, will... So here in the front page, we're going to write our scientific question. Will... Look we talked about these words today, right? With a double consonant, they only make one sound. Will it Will it sink? Sink. What's that ending sound? Will it sink or float? Float. That's our question for today. That's our scientific question for today. Now, it's a question, so what kind of punctuation do I need at the end? Do I need a period? No. Do I need an exclamation mark? No. I need a question mark because it is a question. Will it sink or float? Okay, so we have our first step. We have our question. Next is our hypothesis. Remember that after scientists ask a question, they make a prediction of what they think is going to happen. So we need to make a page for our hypothesis. So we're going to open our booklet. And on this side, we're going to write hypothesis. Whoa, that's a long word, but I know you can do it. H Y P O T H E S I S. Hypothesis. So our question is, will it sink or float? So in our hypothesis, we are going to draw what we think is going to happen. Don't draw anything yet. We're just going to draw a square because when we're doing our experiment, this is where we're going to draw our hypothesis. Okay, don't draw anything yet, just the square. So here we're going to draw our hypothesis once it's time. Then, after our hypothesis, we're going to do our experiment. So we're going to write the word experiment on the other side of our book. Experiment. E X P E R I M E N T. Experiment. And this is where we're going to write down what did happen in our experiment. Okay? So we're going to draw two squares here. We're going to draw one square here. And then we're going to draw another square underneath it. Like that. Okay. Now, this is going to be the tricky part. You have to follow along with me. Okay. We're going to break this box apart into different sections. So we're going to draw two lines going this way. 1, 2. And then we're going to draw two lines going this way. 1, 2. So So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 boxes. And we're going to do the same thing down here. We're going to draw 2 lines. 1, 2, and then we're going to draw 2 lines. 1, 2. Ta-da! Okay. Now here we're going to write the number 1, 2. We're going to color this in. We don't want to use this box. We're going to do the same thing down here. We're going to color in this box. We don't want to use it. And then we're going to write 1, 2. It'll all make sense once we start the experiment. Right now we're just getting our notebook ready, okay? And then the last step we're going to do in our experiment is observe. We're going to observe what happened. So the last page of our book, flip it closed. On the last page, we're going to write observe. 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 Okay, and here we're going to draw a big rectangle so that we know that that's where we're going to draw our observations. Okay. Now, before you go, there's one last thing I'm going to need you to do. Our booklet's ready. We're getting ready to start our experiment. For your experiment, you're going to need a couple of things. So before you go, I'm going to show you what you'll need, okay? Just watch, and then I'm going to let you go find your things. Right now, you just watch. You are going to need your pencil and your booklet, okay? You will need your dice, and Mom and Dad are going to have to help you with this one. You're going to need a container with water. You need to fill your container with water, okay? Preferably a clear container so you can see inside of it. And then you'll need a small plastic container, a much smaller container. So a big container with water, and then a small plastic one without water, okay? Your dice, your book, your pencil, water, and a small plastic container. Okay, I'm going to stop the video. In the next video, we'll do the experiment, so go make sure you have your supplies ready. If you don't have these things at home, then you will just do the experiment with me on video, okay?